My name is Dan Hong. I'm the Vice President of Technology and Content for emebaVet. You know, 5 years ago, if you would have asked me what challenges we had to overcome, I would have said getting screens up on walls and getting pictures on the screens and getting those pictures to stay on the screens. But that's no longer an issue. So I think our new challenges are to become part of the media mix as far as advertising agencies go. We're, I think, a lot of times an afterthought, and we don't want to be an afterthought. We want to be part of the real deal. And so our job is sort of to make it very easy for the ad agencies to accept us, to know what we're doing. I know very early in the game, 4 years ago, I had the unique opportunity to be in front of some top-tier ad agencies and brought my unit in and I showed them what I was doing and their eyes just glazed over. They're like, this is awesome. We have no idea what to do with this. So hopefully we're a little bit more mainstream now. Obviously with the quality of advertisers that we're getting now, and we're a very small network, there is a lot of acceptance in the industry. So if we can continue to do a good job at that, I don't think we're going to have any problems at all. Obviously the technology is great and the industry is growing and it's awesome. Well, I'm a little bit biased as far as vertical markets because we are a captive audience network, and our motto sort of is don't put a screen where people aren't waiting somewhere. And I know that it's a great temptation and it's a great value proposition to put screens where people are walking by in a busy environment and are going to grab something and buy it. It's very easy to track sales, but we're kind of concentrating more on delivering quality information to people who are sitting for long periods of time. In our particular veterinary venues where we live, we're looking at people sitting in front of our screens for 22 minutes at a time. So if an advertiser wants to tell a 3-minute story to present a problem and then deliver a solution, it's very easy for us to do that. But it's also a unique problem for us because we do offer too much flexibility. Agencies are always coming to us and going, I have a 46-second spot, is that going to work? I'm like, give me a minute 46, that'll be fine. So I think the captive audience and capturing people in their lifestyle are going to be bigger growth areas for us. I think the retail thing is there, everybody understands it, and everybody's making their money and installing their screens in those venues, but I think growth is going to be in the captive audience markets. As far as technologies go, I think, you know, obviously we're seeing a huge convergence between mobile and web, and I see that growing, and I sort of call it the signage cloud. I see signage becoming ubiquitous. I mean, pretty much everywhere you go. I'm hoping at some point I'll jump in the car and I'll be getting signage delivered to my GPS screen. So I think the sort of convergence of all this technology and addressing people wherever they are, you know, I'd love to have, you know, messaging come up on my watch if that would be possible. And then being able to migrate across multiple platforms. So if I'm in a veterinary office and I see something on a screen, to be able to call it up on my mobile phone and then maybe send it to my GPS so that I can go and buy the product that I was interested in at the veterinary office. So I'm hoping that, and I know it will happen, but because there's a lot of innovators in the room right now, as those opportunities become available, people will capture that and make that happen. Well, I remember 5 years ago in Chicago, the rainy Chicago show, when it was the Digital Retail Expo, and there were 13 guys with card tables, and there were more people at the booths than were walking around the trade show floor. I mean, it was an interesting time. It was a scary time. Mostly it was focused on what kind of screens to buy. And now there's, you know, every manner of crazy. There's software, there's controlling, there's measuring devices. The show's huge. It's awesome. Last year blew me away because I was like, wow, this show's getting really big. We're starting to get some traction. And this year I see that as far as the vendor side, it seems like I don't know what the actual numbers are, but it seems like there's a lot more vendors. But more importantly, there's a ton more people around. You know, it just seems like there's a lot more people milling around. The classes are all packed. I've been to a bunch of classes, and they're all packed. And it seems like everybody's having a great time. There's a ton of information. I think we're getting really big, and we need to remember that there are a lot of guys that have 2 screens in the back of their liquor store, and they're networked on their computer, and that's a digital signage network too. And we need to address those little guys, because those little fish grow big, and if the little guy has a good year, I'm going to have a good year too, and so is Walmart. So I love to see it growing in every way. My panel, Session 27, Feeding the Beast. It was about developing content for your network. And I was with Keith Kelson, and who's recently written a book about the industry, and Bob Stowe from Wendy's. And we just basically addressed all the issues, from the very small guy trying to get a pretty picture on his screen all the way up to the challenges that Wendy's has managing 6,000 locations. And it was really nice, because we took a little survey at the beginning of the session to see, you know, who was currently a network operator, who was here planning to start a network, and there were a lot of people who were like, I'm buying some screens today, and I'm going back and I'm going to start a network. So it was nice to talk to those guys about content. You know, we have a unique content proposition, because every one of our venues has unique content. So I have 100 locations. I have 100 different venues that I have to develop content for, and there are only 3 of us. So our content team is working all the time. So it was nice to be able to talk to a lot of people. A lot of people came up after and said, you've heartened me to continue wanting to do this, you know, because you're a little guy that did something, and we want to be that guy too. And I'm like, well, great, I hope you speak here next year. So digital signage, join the revolution.